A lifelong campaigner for Palestine, Jeremy Corbyn now sits as an independent MP in Parliament. Alongside him are four other new independent MPs voted into Westminster on a pro-Palestinian platform. So it makes sense that their common political interests have led to this announcement. Jeremy Corbyn will create a formal alliance with Shaukat Adam, Ayub Khan, Adnan Hussein and Iqbal Mohammed, promising to also campaign on the two-child benefit cap and austerity. Explaining the move, the five MPs said this: millions of people are crying out for a real alternative to austerity, inequality and war, and their voices deserve to be heard. As individuals, we were voted by our constituents to represent their concerns in Parliament on these matters and more, and we believe that as a collective group we can carry on doing this with greater effect. The more MPs who are prepared to stand up for these principles, the better. Our door is always open to other MPs who believe in a more equal and peaceful world. The Alliance has also written to Commons Speaker Lindsay Hoyle asking to be treated as a bloc in the House and requesting as much speaking time as small parties like Reform and the Greens. Obviously the same sizes as both, really. Reform have 5, the Greens have 4, and now the Independent Alliance have 5. Hoyle has yet to respond, but the independent MPs have already attracted the attention of another sitting MP. This was Kemi Badenoch at her leadership campaign launch today.
Laws brought in to protect everyone were used by left-wingers to protect certain groups over others. We have seen in history what happens when governments do this. That must not happen here. And that is why, when everyone was talking about the 5 new MPs from Reform, I was far, far more worried about the 5 new MPs elected on the back of sectarian Islamist politics, alien ideas that have no place here.
Now, alien ideas that have no place here. Now, those 5 MPs were not elected on Islamist politics, right? They were elected on a platform of, we want to stop sending arms to Israel to carry out a genocidal war. That's not Islamism. Other than Jeremy Corbyn, they are Muslims. Other than Jeremy Corbyn, I think principally their support came from Muslim communities. I mean, Jeremy Corbyn's would a little bit, but obviously he has broader appeal because he's a very famous person. The other 4 came somewhat by surprise, presumably because they were well networked in particular communities, in their constituencies, right? But there's nothing sinister about that. They didn't stand for Islamist politics. They stood for peace in the Middle East. Aaron, I suppose 2 things to talk about here. This alliance, this independent alliance becoming formal, and Kemi Badenoch's, I think, pretty outrageous smearing of these 5 independent MPs.
She's a clown. She's not a serious person. Most of the people running to be Tory leader are clowns. I mean, even if you look at something like Tom Tugendhat, who I think is unique in so much as he has a positive approval rating. Not many people know about the guy, but those who do seem to dislike him less than the other ones. He doesn't really have any strong opinions beyond not liking Russia and China. Okay. Tom Tugendhat, what would you do for the higher education sector in this country, which is on its arse? I don't know. You want to be the prime minister of a country. You want to be the leader of a political party, which by many measures is the most successful in Western European history. I don't know. We'll have to double check that one. Sort of Bradman, again, not serious. These are just not serious people. They're not serious people. They just go around calling people names. That's what they do. They're not serious. They can't solve problems. They can't make people better off. They can't even solve the problems that they try and draw attention to get people really riled up, like immigration. What is their solution, for instance, to the quote-unquote small boats crisis? They never have one. And also, by the way, Kemi Badenoch, she was asked about what she would like to get immigration down to. David Cameron said the tens of thousands, of course, in 2010. She said, I wouldn't put a number on it. You can't manage what you don't measure. If you're going to make migration an issue, if you're going to say it's too high, you should put a number on it, right? You should. This is the number one issue. We have to address it. I care about it a lot. The people that will vote for me and make me Tory leader, they really care about it. We really care about it so much we can't put a number on it. Okay. I mean, they're not serious. This is about getting headlines. It's about getting retweets. That is now what drives the Conservative Party. What will get the most, what will cause the most division and polarization on Twitter? X. That's now their modus operandi in terms of doing politics. And in terms of these 5 people, like say, Jeremy Corbyn, not a Muslim, it seems to me that from Badenoch's comments, Michael, if you're a Muslim, you want to end the bloodshed, the genocide in Gaza, and you have the political wherewithal, capability luck, good fortune, skill, all of the above, social networks, to become an elected member of parliament. Not easy as an independent, by the way. Almost never happens at Westminster elections. Can happen in by-elections. Almost never happens at Westminster elections. If you have all those things, Muslim, anti-genocide, good at politics, well, therefore, I'm afraid you're an Islamist. My, oh my, Michael, how the definition has changed. It used to mean you're a member of Al-Qaeda. Now it means somebody who's opposed to a genocide and is good at getting out the votes in Blackburn. I know that, words can shift meaning, but that's a pretty big shift in a pretty small space of time.
Islamists, they used to say about them, they hate our democracy. They can't stand to live in a democratic society. Okay, well, some Muslims who aren't Islamists, by the way, have stood for election, got elected on an issue which I think is very important, and they're smeared as Islamists for taking part in our democratic process. It seems like you can't win.